I used to have a button in my office that said, live each day as if it were your last, because one day you'll be right, right? So it's about taking charge of what we can control and making sure we're on track. And that's where I came up with this concept, do it well, make it fun. Very simply, do it well, make it fun means seek excellence first in everything you do, whether it's in your personal life or your work life. Seek excellence first, but then make the experience of your work and personal life more fun. One of the things that I had to do on a regular basis in quality improvement was to do chart reviews. I hated doing chart reviews. They were just boring. So what I started doing was looking for funny things in the medical record. These are actual medical records that were discovered in medical records. These are actual entries. This first one was a physician wrote this. It said, patient refused autopsy. This one, it said, patient was referred to a hospital by a private physician with green stools. This was on a prescription for suppositories. Insert one daily until exhausted. Go look at this on YouTube. You've probably seen it. Many of you have probably seen it. It was one of those early videos that went viral. And it's called the Volkswagen Fun Theory. And they did a bunch of studies to see if they could get people to do things by making them fun. So there's this one great video on there called, and it's just the Volkswagen Fun Theory, where they show the subway station in Stockholm, Sweden. And there's a stairway and an escalator. And they turn the stairway into piano keys. And they make sound. So when you walk up the stairs, it's like walking up a piano. And the next day, the video camera captures all these people jumping up and down and kids running up and down and people doing like this on notes on the piano making this noise. And it's fun. It's fun to watch. The best part about it, 60% more people took the stairs than took the escalator, just by making it more fun. I don't think you need any more evidence than that. If we can make the processes in our life better and more fun, it's going to change our experiences. It's going to change the care that you give. If you go into your work with this attitude of, I'm going to try to make this better, but I'm going to have fun doing it, that's going to affect everybody around you. So changing your perspective is the do it well part. The fun part is seeing the humor. Do you realize that humor does two things for us when we encounter stress? Freud felt that humor was the highest level coping mechanism that we have psychologically. And here's what it does for us. First of all, it balances out stress. If you can laugh in the midst of stress, the stress can't overwhelm you. Because you've created a buffer. You've created a distance between you and the stress by laughing in the midst of it. Not necessarily laughing at the stress, but laughing in the midst of it. Something funny happens in the midst of being stressful. Allow yourself to laugh. It'll buffer the stress. The second thing, though, which I think is the most powerful part of humor, is that humor changes our perspective. Now, let me take you back to my quality improvement days. In my quality improvement days, one of the things that's very important in quality or process improvement is brainstorming other perspectives of the problem. So if humor naturally takes your brain to that point, research has shown that if you put people in a brainstorming session but show them something funny before they start brainstorming, they will come up with more options. I was in Oklahoma City one time waiting for my luggage, and that can be stressful, right? Is it actually going to come out? So I'm waiting for my luggage, and they all look alike. The suitcases are all those black rollerboards. And so I'm watching the suitcases go by, and I see a black suitcase go by, another black suitcase, a woman's bra, another black suitcase. And right there on the conveyor belt, all by itself, no busted up luggage, no indication that it should be there, is a woman's bra. Now, I don't know what your reaction would be, but my first thought was, how does that happen? I mean, I'm not an engineer, but can it just pop off? I don't know how that works. And my next thought was, and who's going to pick it up? That thing just went round and round and round. Nobody touched it. And then once it went behind the wall, it didn't come back out. And now I'm thinking, what's going on behind the wall? So that made my day. Nothing's going to ruin my day at that point. I think we feel victims of stress oftentimes. Something happens and it causes us stress. What we don't realize, though, I think most of us don't realize, is that it's not the thing causing stress. It's how we see the thing that causes stress. Here's a cool thing about stress. Do you realize that stress is not inherently stressful? We think of stress as something that happens to us. The problem is, it's not. If stress was something that happens to us, then everybody would be stressed by the same things. The do-it-well part of stress management or attitude adjustment is you've got to work on your perspective. And so what I do is when I feel myself getting tense or I get that knot in my stomach or I start to feel sweaty or I feel hot, those symptoms that are telling me something's going on, I pay attention to what am I thinking that's leading to this and how can I change that? I was with a group the other day and I said, what's that one thing that really causes you stress? And one woman goes, the thing that just gets under my skin, it just causes me no end of stress. I'm thinking, this is going to be good. She said, when people park and they're not lined up with the lines in the parking lot. Something in here is telling her that that's meaningful. So here's the formula that you need to keep in your mind. Something happens, we give it some perspective or meaning the way we see it, and that results in how it affects us. Let me give you another example. I was in Denver a couple months ago. My niece lives in Denver, and I had a speaking engagement out there, so I went out to Denver, and I was going to take her and her husband and their new little baby out to dinner. So we went out to dinner at this place, and there's a place in Denver where they've turned an old train station into a bunch of really cool restaurants. So we went to one of the restaurants, and it was a very casual, kind of hip, fun place, and we were getting ready to leave. We stood up to leave, and the waitress came over to say goodbye to us, and she looks over at my niece, who just happens to be 5 feet tall, 5 feet even. She looks at my niece and goes, how tall are you? Now, for a short person, that's kind of rude. My niece is very laid back. She didn't mind. She looked at the waitress. She goes, I'm 5 foot nothing, like this. And the waitress went, yes. And I'm sitting going, what is that all about? And so here's what they do. The waiters and the waitresses in this restaurant play customer poker. So essentially, here's how this works. Different people, unique people, represent playing cards. So a woman who is 5 feet tall or shorter and 21 years of age or older, she represents the Queen of Hearts. So essentially, our waitress got a Queen of Hearts through my niece. A man that has a sweater vest on and a mustache, King of Clubs. A baby that goes through the entire meal without crying, Ace of Spades. All right, so these waiters and waitresses, and I don't know how many of you ever waited tables, I certainly did, but these waiters and waitresses getting in the hectic part of the evening where they're just going frantic trying to keep up with things in the back of their mind the whole time they're playing this game against each other, because at the end of the night, whoever has the best poker hand based on the customers they had wins. And here's what I think is happening that they don't even realize. They're enjoying what they're doing on a different level than the rest of the people that are waiters and waitresses. They're just making it more fun. But here's what's even better than that. They are honoring diversity, because the more unique the person is, the greater the playing card value, which means they embrace that into the people they serve. That's phenomenal. And you think about it in the big scheme of things, what a simple, tiny tweak to a process that totally changes the impact on it for the people that are doing it. I saw a company one time that had a customer that had not paid in 9 months. Their bill was 9 months overdue. So they sent one more invoice out. At the top of the invoice in big bold letters, it says, your invoice is now 9 months overdue. We have carried you longer than your mother did. And the bill was paid in 2 weeks. Let's talk about the workplace. Let's talk about the work process. Here's my belief. I may be wrong here, but here's my belief. I think about half of what we do, we love. And the other half, we do to get to do what we love. In every job I was in until this one, I love most of this job. Every time I was in a job, it was about like that. Yeah, I had to put up with this stuff to get to do what I really like to do. So I'm not concerned about the stuff you love to do. That doesn't bother me. Obviously, you're getting fulfillment. You're enjoying that. What I'm concerned about is the stuff that you don't like to do. The things that you have to do that you don't enjoy. So my charge to you is to take those things that cause you stress or are boring or mundane or that make the day long and figure out how can I change these so that I'm either better at it and feel good about it, feel better about it, or I make them more enjoyable. I was in Germany a few weeks ago speaking at a conference for the German Speakers Association conference. And I went into the bathroom and I looked at the urinal and there was a squished fly on the wall of the urinal, inside the urinal. And it wouldn't wash down. And I'm thinking, this is odd. I was like, and there wasn't anybody else in there. I was looking around, I looked over, the next urinal had one too. All of them had these flies that would look like squished flies on the side of the urinal. So, turns out, as many of you who are parents of little boys know, little boys like targets, right? When you teach little boys to be potty trained, we throw Cheerios in the toilet. And we do things to get them to aim, right? Well, apparently, that desire never goes away. And the Netherlands did this big research study and found that if they put these little decals of flies in the urinals, the bathrooms are 60 to 80% cleaner. That's do it well, make it fun. Thank you so much for what you do. Have a great conference.